Right now, it's time to talk party politics. The Rivers State House of Assembly has vowed to proceed with the renewed attempt to impeach Governor Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Wudu, insisted that nothing will stand in its way. The lawmakers made this known during the presentation of a notice of allegations of gross misconduct on the floor of the House. Meanwhile, a faction of the All Progressives Congress in that particular state, Rivers State, has condemned the impeachment move by the House of Assembly, urging lawmakers to resist what it described as external pressure influencing their actions. Now, joining us for this conversation is the factional Deputy National Secretary of the PDP, Deji Doherty. We also have a PR expert and consultant, Ambrose Igboke. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen, on the program.
Good morning.
Let me kickstart with the PR expert, Ambrose Igboke. What do you make of the development in Rivers at this time? Another impeachment move on Governor Fubara. What exactly is happening?
I think what is happening is desperation for political relevance by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, whom we all know is the brain behind the moves by the House of Assembly members. Political watchers River State event, we know what has happened since 2023, where the governor was through the preparations to the 2023 general elections, where he was single-handedly picked by the erstwhile governor, His Excellency Nyesom Wike, to succeed him. And when that happened, I think Siminalayi Fubara played the fool, by agreeing to do everything. But I think also in agreeing to do everything, the deputy minister, from the feelers we have heard, overreached himself, where he was even trying to regulate. People who come to visit the governor and files his signs and the rest, appointing almost all the commissioners and the rest. So I think these things became suffocating for the governor, and he began to react. And his godfather, who put him in place, didn't like that and decided to fight. And in this fight, there was no courtesies, there was no diplomacy. It was raw. It was like a street fight. It was garrulous. It was everything you can think of in the negative. They danced naked in a market square. And the people of Rivers were jolted by this show of shame. The attempt to impeach the governor came early last year, and the president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, averted that by declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State, so that frayed nerves can be calmed down. And 6 months after that, where we restated the governor, it is unfair that they will start the same thing again, even without having if there's still issues. The president have mediated on this matter, and the FCT minister should take the issues back to the president for further direction. But taking laws into his hands, I will consider the inflammatory remarks made by the FCT minister, where he was talking back at the national secretary of the APC. He was, insulting everybody. He was even threatening the presidency that his support for the president should not be taken for granted. And he was even telling people that they should not try him. These are inflammatory statements that shouldn't come from somebody who has been a two-time minister, who has been a two-time governor, who has been a local government chairman. We are supposed to grow. Our democracy is 27. We will say 27 years. The Fourth Republic will be 27 years by May. So we shouldn't be having this kind of conversations. And it's unfortunate that the House of Assembly are just mere pawns, just tools in the hands of some people. River State people are too important to be left in this display of chess game or political war between a godson and a godfather. And the strategic move by the governor to APC is also something that has consolidated its stand. And so the FCT minister should know that it's not the days of PDP where the governor was in PDP. Now that the governor is in APC, they will have some kind of protection too, and there will be kind of pushbacks. which have started from the APC.
All right. Okay. So now let me stand on the conversation we were having here. And you did mention, I mean, the governor was, of course, formerly in PDP. Now, my question is directed at Mr. Doherty. Now, let's talk about this particular thing that's happening in Rivers State, which we're currently on. Now, would you say this is a real situation of misconduct as claimed by the House, or would you say this is simply a power tussle and a battle?
Well, for me, it is what is happening is purely political. It has nothing to do with any kind of appropriation.
So this question is for Mr. Doherty. So. Mr. Doherty.
Mr. Doherty, can you unmute?
Can you unmute your mic, please?
I can't hear you.
Mr. Doherty, can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you. I can hear the gentleman sitting next to you, but I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is the line clear now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. You can go ahead.
Okay, so my question to you, sir, the question is, now this particular thing happening in Rivers State, now would you say from your experience in the system, considering there's a third impeachment, would you say this is a political situation of struggle, of power tussle and things like that, or is this really a situation of misconduct on the part of Mr. Governor?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Before I answer your question, I would like to clarify one thing. Like I've always said, the political terrain in this country, whether you take it or leave it, has changed completely with the emergence of a full-blown politician being the president of this country. And having said that, I'd like to clarify a statement I made during my last interview with you. And that is, I never said that without Governor Wike, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, cannot win his election. He can win. And he's going to win because of a lot of other things that he has done, like putting a lot of money in the hands of governors, putting a lot of money in the hands of local government chairmen. You understand? All these are things that never happened before and has happened. Now, having said that, let me go to your question. This is mainly a political issue. There has been something that happened during Fashola's time, if you all remember. It happened during Ambode's time, if you remember. That's why he hasn't gotten a second term up till now. It happened during Obasa being the speaker. There has been quite a lot of these political moves made by senior members of parties, leaders in parties against sitting elective members of either governors, senators, and things like that. So it's not new. What I believe is this. Governor Wike has worked tirelessly to win for Bola Ahmed Tinubu the state, and that is Rivers State. He also won his governorship under all the circumstances, which I don't want to go back into, for Fubara to win the election. Personally, I don't want to be sentimental. I don't believe in godfatherism and everything like that, because if you know me in Lagos, I don't have a godfather in Lagos, but I have God. You understand? If someone personally does what Fubara is doing to me personally, I will not like it. And you will not like it. Nobody will like it, because it is a sweat that has already been put. He has put him there. And I believe that diplomacy, give and take, and understanding, humility has to go with the position of governor. It's just like Adedibu, when Baba Adedibu was in Oyo State, and you had Ladoja as governor. Remember what happened. You understand? This is not new, okay? is the only reason why it is being is explosive in the media is because it has to deal with Governor Wiki, and I believe that this will be settled the political way. The president has already intervened the first time, and once the president had intervened the first time, I believe that that was a window for the governor to come in and make amends with his mentor. And I believe that if he has done other things that that has gotten his mentor furious, his mentor definitely has the right to go ahead and try all political means to correct what wrong he must have done in the past. And I believe that is what is playing out in
are you saying that even if the political means that the Godfather would end up deploying, even if it has negative effect on the people of the state, it is justified? Is that what you're saying, sir?
What I'm saying is this: there is nowhere in the world where a governor, a president, or whoever is impeached and it has an adverse effect on the people. Now, the effect that this might have on the people is temporary.
I'm not talking about the impeachment itself, sir. I'm talking about the process. There's so much controversy going on in Rivers State. Governance had been truncated. In 3 years, Fubara had been served impeachment notice 3 times. It's as if it's a yearly ritual right now in River State. And in between, there had been an emergency rule. All right? Fubara had not really been able to allow to do governance as the governor of River State. And developmental projects have really suffered in Rivers. We all know that. Are you saying, sir, that with all this, it's still okay?
Let me say something. The people are on one hand.
Yeah.
Governance and government is on the other hand. Now, let me also say this. If there is going to be an adverse negative effect on the people, then in the Constitution, there won't be any process for impeachment.
All right.
At any time and every time in government, there is always an administrator. You understand? And projects continue to go on, whether the governor is there or whether the governor isn't there. There's a budget. The last administrator during the emergency rule, he executed some projects for the people. But let me say this: it is better for there to be peace. It is better for there to be consolidation. It is better for there to be collaboration within the space by which you emerged. It is better. Now, it is bestowed on the governor to make sure that he creates a balance. And that is where I stand.
Okay, let me put you on the post, Deji, creating a balance at this time. Let me come to you, Ambrose Igboke. How can we get this balance? Various allegations have been raised on the governor, from the demolition of the assembly complex to this extra budgetary spending to withholding of funds, disregards of the Supreme Court ruling. These are various allegations coming from the members of the House of Assembly on the governor. Where do we go from here, Ambrose?
Well, there is no balance where there is no equity. People who are saying that the governor should do everything to make sure. What is the FCT minister doing to make sure everything is okay? You cannot have balance tilted on one side. There must be equitable efforts to ensure balance. You cannot beat a child and ask the child not to cry, an African proverb says. So it behoves of the two political actors to ensure that they bring everything to the table to make sure there's balance and there's peace and progress for the River State. You cannot be asking only the governor to make sure everything works, even to the detriment of governance in the state. Because the things we hear that the FCT minister is emphasizing that the governor should do cannot make the state go forward. A chief executive of the state is a chief executive of the state. And let us not suffer from political amnesia or historical amnesia when we say that nothing happens when this kind of dangerous political moves are done. What led to the crisis, Western regional crisis in 1964? What led to that? Led to the coup, that led to the counter coup, and then led to the civil war between Nigeria and Biafra. One mistake by political actors cost us all these terrible things that led to millions of loss of lives and the some of the deep division.
Mr. Igboke, just a moment. Can you stay with my line of thought on the allegations raised by the members of the House of Assembly? I just read those allegations. What are your reactions on this?
We are building a background. Sometimes you build a background to answer your questions.
Okay.
And what we are saying is that the political actors should remember history, whatever that, whether with allegation against, because all of them start with allegations. And some of these allegations we know are politically motivated. They are not allegations done out of altruism. Because some of these allegations are something you can sit down and settle if there was political harmony. But because there's no political disharmony, there's rancor, there's division, and there's ego fights between the two political camps. These things are brought to the fore. When we look at the history of governors and their House of Assembly, there are even more heinous or more, issues than these that I've raised. But there are found ways to reconcile the differences. What about correcting the governor? What about doing other things? And again, from the governor's angle, there's this argument that, look, the National Assembly are the ones that make this budget, and it's still running for a time. From the time they made it, when the state of emergency, that is 1 year. That they are 1 year now, the fiscal year cycle has changed. So we have to also interrogate those kind of assertions and see whether it is true or not. And so when you want to look at both sides, you have to have both sides come forward. Let's solve the problem. But saying that one side should solve the problem and the one side should always be right, then there's a problem. Then they are not ready to solve the problem. And in all this, the people of Rivers State are suffering because governance are stunted, development have stunted, with all the heavy arsenal of money they have, of access to assets and wealth. Rivers State has become stunted in the last 2.5 years. So what we are now saying is that the House of Assembly people should start being House of Assembly and not boys to be sent on errands, because that is exactly what is happening in Rivers State. They are being sent on errands to do what they do. And unless they come out to say, okay, look, we are doing this for the people of Rivers, House of Assembly is not doing anything for the people of Rivers State. They are just taking instructions from somebody who wants to make sure that the government goes to hell. That is what is happening there. So unless we come out and say these facts and state it regularly and stop playing political ostrich, then the problems will continue. Governor, there's a chief executive in Rivers State. The chief executive is not an errand boy. The chief executive will be asked, and the chief security officer of the state should be allowed to do the job. Just because you're a godfather does not mean that you erode those powers given to the governor.
Okay.
And godfathers should respect themselves too.
Okay.
Humility is on both sides. Just because you train your child and made him in life does not mean that you not dictate to your married son or your married daughter.
Yes, the points, that particular point is clear. Now back to Mr. Doherty. Mr. Doherty, this question is for you. Now you said you're not necessarily in support of godfatherism. However, when if the governor was put there and there was an agreement, the agreement should be followed and things like that. Now, in past clips, we literally see Minister Wike, when he was governor, talking about how, he served 2 terms. There's no reason why he would definitely stop another man from actually serving 2 terms if that's what the people want. Saying that, God put him there, and then he will allow, of course, any other person to do what he needs. This was actually when he was commenting on what was happening in Lagos State at the time. Now, you're talking about this. Are you literally saying that what the minister is doing is right? Now, I'm going to also draw your attention to the fact that, in FCT, in the news yesterday, a female lawyer was actually killed in Abuja. There are several issues, security issues. And I did listen to one of the female lawyers, actually the head of the female lawyers in the FCT, speak very painfully about how this is not the first, second, or third time something like that is happening. And she did call on the minister. She did mention that she was at the minister's office. He was not on seat. Now, we've definitely seen him in the past few weeks and days go up and around River State talking about issues, talking about 2027 elections and things like that. Now, based on everything happening, still on your past points, saying that, fine, what is happening? Are you saying that what's happening is right? And then it seems in some situations people are stating that, I mean, his role as minister is being ignored while he's putting all this energy into a state which he has governed and now has handed over to another governor. What is actually your comment on this?
Well, thank you very much. Let us try as much as possible to remove sentiment from what we're talking about, and let us understand that we're talking about governance and we're talking about a state and how a state is being run. Okay? Now, when you're talking about the lady in Abuja, the minister is just one person. There's a PAMSEC, there's a junior minister, there are several people, there are directors and things that can handle all issues concerning the ministry.
Very true, but then again, if the person at the helm of affairs is distracted, don't you think it will affect the line downwards?
No, let me say something, okay? I'm sure you've never had the minister saying that he's going on leave. You've never had the minister saying that he's going on a break. You've never had since he resumed. You haven't had that from him. He's a minister that has been delivering in the FCT. If you've been to the FCT today, you understand, and compare it to how it was about 3 years ago, you know that there's a minister that continues to work every day. As a matter of fact, when he was governor, he was called Mr. Projects because he executed and delivered several projects. Now, having said that, because I don't want to be here and talk, and say positive things about Governor Wike. Governor Wike has his own
minister
bad side and he has his own good side. You understand? However, everybody in this world have that. You understand? But let us be clear about this. He worked tirelessly for the emergence of Mr. President. He worked tirelessly for the emergence of Fubara. Now, it is bestowed, I'm not saying 100%, it is bestowed on Fubara to manage both the bad, the good, the ugly, the mad, whatever he has in the state. Yes. That is what he has been elected to do. And that is what I am saying, that it's not like he must do it this way or he must do it this way. He has the barrel, he has the cutlass, he has the knife, he has the fork. So what he needs to do is just calm down and work with everybody. All right. And not a situation where the president has come in, has helped mediate and everything, and then we go back to what is happening now. You understand?
All right, Mr. Doherty, just because of our time, we would like to squeeze in this question, and the question is directed at Ambrose Igboke. Now, it is said that Mr. President has again decided to wade into this crisis in River State. What are your expectations?
Well, the first time the president waded into the matter, the president was wading in as the president who is concerned that a subnational state is having those kind of issues, and that if it is not handled well, it may snowball into crisis. And when these things enter crisis level, you don't know the dimension it will take. It can set the country on fire, just like what happened in 1964. So now it is a different ballgame. The president is now going to mediate as the leader of the APC. Now that the governor is not a member of the president's ruling party, president's party, it's going to be very different from the first mediation. Now they were talking about it's more like a family affair. They'll be talking about it more now as a party affair. And this time around, the president is going to be more of party conscious when dealing with the issues, because now Fubara is now a member of the party. And the party members themselves will be very careful about Wike, because some of them already say that this is not PDP. This is not what you did in PDP. You cannot bring it to APC. And so it's more complex for a Wike. But I think the president is a political juggernaut. He has experienced most of these things over time, and he knows what to do. But again, the House of Assembly members should be very, very careful that they do the work they were elected to do and not take directive from people, because the chief executive of the state cannot hand over the work, the running of the state to an individual because the individual made him governor. In that case, he will be abdicating the responsibilities and duties of the chief executive of the state. What also will need to be done is that he can accommodate, which he has been doing, to see how he can accommodate the excesses of his godfather.
Okay.
But at the same time, he cannot hand over the running of the state to someone.
Let's quickly get the reaction of the Dorothy. In 30 seconds, if you can just answer that. Do you see the meeting with the governor and the minister with the president positive this time around?
Thank you very much for that question. God bless you. Okay, for 26 years, I have known Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. When he was governor, I used to attack him. You can ask him. You understand? I've spoken to him a couple of times. He is a person that doesn't like this kind of action. Whether he be the leader of the APC or not, the Renewed Hope agenda is an agenda that Wike is following. The Renewed Hope agenda is an agenda that Fubara must be following now as a member of the APC. So let us do it like this. Let us leave it. I am telling you, from what I know of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has done it with, like I said, Fashola. He did it with everybody. He did it with everybody. So let us see. He is a consistent person.
It's a fine place.
He will stand for the truth.
Absolutely. It's a fine place to leave it. Factional Deputy National Secretary of the PDP, David Doherty, and PR experts, Ambrose Igboki. Many thanks for joining us, gentlemen, on the program this morning.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, we'll take a break at the moment, and when we come back from the break, it's time to talk entertainment. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.